Evening all. So let's have some more kicking dust fun now. What I've been looking at recently, and I'm sure many of you have as well, is the new lists of things, precious sparkly things on in Eve at the moment. This is all to do with the different drop suits. So basically what's going to happen from what I can tell is going to be each race will actually have most of the major drop suits. So light, scouts, medium, don't know what medium is, assault, logistics, and heavy. So that's pretty cool. So that begins to kind of draw out, I think what works well in Eve is that people get to kind of become fond of a race. Now, interestingly enough, I wonder if this will follow through from previous, I guess, statistics around. So Galante are usually drone-carrying armor users. Minmatar are generally, shield or armor, but they're usually quite quick. Amar are obviously slow and heavy, but very good on armor. And Caldari are obviously a bit of a wild card, but they have good shield, etc. So I wonder if they'll carry that on. I'm sure they will. But I think that's really going to be quite interesting because, I run scout suits, for example. So, I'm going to have to pick which race of scout suit to fit. So, sounds really confusing. And this is obviously why they're going to do that skill reset. So, again, if you're not familiar with that, you're going to be allowed to reallocate your skill points when uprising comes. And I think that's, pretty good because, you probably need that reallocation, to be honest. Otherwise, you're just going to end up with stuff you probably don't know how to use. So, it's going to be tricky because which suit do I go for? There's going to be the same with tanks. There's going to be the same with LAVs. There are going to be two more tanks. You're going to have the Amar and the Minmatar tank probably in now. So they certainly seem to be in the listings. Same with the LAVs as well. You're going to have an LAV for all four races. So you're also going to have things called, I guess, heavy drop ships with a turret. So there's lots going on. I think there's some really cool stuff coming down the pipe, and probably about time as well. I think the game has been like this for probably a year, maybe 6 months, maybe. So I'm looking forward to it. I think it's going to be awesome. For me personally, I think I'm really looking forward to the graphics update. There's nothing wrong with the game as it is, but if you're not aware, it's actually it's not in HD. Let's say this is a kind of sub HD. I think the most you can do with Dust is 720, which is fine. Don't get me wrong, but it's done because obviously they're testing it and they want to make sure that it runs and all that good stuff. But to me, Eve has always been an incredibly beautiful game, and I think Dust is going to be just the same because, again, it's one of those games where I think there is a particular style to it, and I'm really looking forward to what that will look like. Again, I hope there's a bit of variation with the maps as well because. Playing a few rounds last night wasn't that easy. We lost continually, and I think it's because I think players have become so familiar with the maps. They almost kind of just go into autopilot when they play now, and I found myself doing the same. This map that I'm showing you now is pretty much testament to that as well, because I'm not really playing it. I think at this point I was kind of half playing it, and I think that's a shame because I think what nothing worse will happen to the game if people just get lethargic with it, and I think that's what I do worry about slightly is that the randomized nature of maps and so on is really key here because but it needs to be, I think, more so than what it is now because I think a lot of players are just going to completely check out once they become comfortable. Like Instant Battle now, everybody's so comfortable with these maps. They know what fits to run, they know what suits to use, they know where to stand, they know which path to run, and they know where to snipe and so on. It's getting pretty concerning because I think it's not a particularly good longevity marker, is it? If every time you log in you think, oh, it's this map again, oh god, let's do the usual. And I don't like that. I think if they can randomize it even a little bit more, that would be awesome. I know it's not easy, but I just think they're really kind of showing there's going to be a future issue here where and I said it in the last video where already loads of people aren't necessarily logging in. The human endurance event is actually a prime method of getting more people to log on, and this may be because I don't know, maybe the backers are looking at the game and saying, hang on, why are so many people not logging on? There is always a high chance of that. Again, I'm playing devil's advocate, so don't flame me, but I think certainly when it comes to what the game, how the game's currently standing, new content is what everyone's waiting for. So obviously that's coming, and that's going to be awesome. And I'm really looking forward to districts. And I just hope there's a bit of a mechanic there that really, enlivens the game somewhat. Because I do feel at the moment, particularly from last night's maps, it was very... everybody was on autopilot. Nobody was really thinking. It was just like, oh, there's a guy shoot. Right, let's run here. Let's go get C. Oh, there's a guy shoot. And I think it doesn't kind of pop and fizzle in the brain when you think, right, what can I do? Where's the tactics? What am I going to do? More so, I think, in EVE, because in EVE you have to really be quite aware of tactics. You have to be a bit more aware of what's going on. And I think, maybe that's not quite in Dust yet, but I'm sure it will be. I have utter faith that they're going to make an amazing game. So, I think in terms of the new stuff, it's looking very good. I think in terms of also the suits as well, it's going to become really quite tricky in terms of what's the best fit to go for. Probably need to do a bit more of inspection on them. I've got a great big data sheet that I've put all of the various stats that I can find in. And I'm quite excited to roll that out. I know it's a bit nerdy, but I'm just curious, if anything more for the comparison, because I think for me personally, I'd rather have a scout suit that's fast. Don't worry too much about armor or anything like that. I think to me it's, if I can put a good shield in it, so maybe the Caldari Scout might be a good mix. If the Mimitar have a bonus to speed, I'll probably go with that because I do like the speed there. If Amar have a bonus to laser guns, which could be possible, then I'll probably go with Amar. So I don't know, I think that's probably the cool thing about it. What I would say though is don't spend all your points very quickly. You know what I mean? A lot of people I know are just going to say, right, I'm respecing to tank. I'm just going to go tank because tanks are awesome. Oh yeah, but that's risky because what could happen is tanks may just become absolutely obsolete as people then put, I don't know, top level launcher skills in. Do you know? With the fact that you can reprogram your skills, it means that pretty much everybody is going to have something top end. So a top end forge gun, a top end tank pilot, a top end swarm launcher, and that's going to mean bad news for like people who are going to reskill into, I don't know, tanks, for example, like this dude here maybe, who, tanks I think are being used very exclusively at the moment as mobile pawn wagons, which is fine, but I think eventually they're going to maybe meet their match, because a lot of players are just going to respec into, probably tank killing or tanks themselves. So I don't know, it's going to be lovely to see. I mean, at the moment I'm sitting on probably 800,000 skill points. There's no reason for that. It's just because I think I don't really know what to train next. I probably should do more proficiency. I've only got laser level 1, which is crazy. But at the moment, when I get a chance to play, usually I'm not thinking about what to skill up. I'm thinking about, right, what's going on at the moment. And I think certainly when it comes to the new way of things, as we can call it, I think it's going to be harsh to some groups. So maybe currently heavy machine guns with heavy suits are pretty good. After the patch, because of just the nature of what happens, and again, maybe if you're not familiar with EVE, this is unfortunately very true of CCP, is by a little tweak left or right, they will completely imbalance something. So, one suit, the Mimitar Scout suit, for example, could have like a ridiculously good shield recharge. It could have an amazing speed, and maybe it's got enough modules to put loads of stuff on it. So that becomes fit of the month, and that really is, FOTM is going to be a term I think we'll see a huge amount more in Dust, because you're just going to have people who will fit the same stuff. So in EVE, everybody found Drake army, so everybody all of a sudden had Drakes. And then literally every single battle you saw was with Drakes. I mean, I'm talking a while ago, but and this is unfortunately the nature of the game, I think, because people are going to play this game phenomenally competitively, and you're going to see some real nasty backlashes from corpse to corpse now, because effectively with Uprising it gets personal, because you're going to start losing space. So unfortunately you probably are going to see real money trading. You're going to see arseholes basically selling clones on websites somewhere, but I'm afraid that's coming. That's part of the process of having a currency in the game that is actually unique and tradable outside of the game, perhaps. So anyway, musings, we'll see how that maybe pans out. Hope you enjoyed that. It's a pretty good run and gun. We'll do some more of these. Hope you enjoyed that. See you next time.